much for tuning into Charlani TV. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I schedule out my week. Time management is absolutely my jam. I love helping people figure out how to really manage their time. And I have a little bit of a tip for you, which I'll tell you here in just 1 second. But I really think that it is so very important to understand and know what exactly it is that you are spending your time on. So the way I work is I like to block out my time and then work from a list. And if you are new to scheduling yourself out like this, my suggestion is to whip out a piece of paper and for 1 whole week, Monday through Sunday, write down exactly what you're spending your time on. And I mean everything. Potty breaks, drive time, commute time. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is that they don't allot enough time to get to where they're supposed to be, hence why people are so late all the time. So my suggestion is, no matter what it is, write it down. How long did it take you to get from point A to point B? If you have carpool, does it take you 15 minutes to get there? Does it take you 10 minutes to get there? Over a week, if you are going to pick up your kids and some days it takes 8 minutes and some days it takes 14, you're gonna know that because you're gonna have a whole week's worth of data to show you and tell you exactly how long it takes to get certain tasks done. And usually if you do this for a whole week, and it'd be like a regular week, not a week off of work or vacation week, like this is a real true life week out of your life where you can really write everything down and know what you have to do. And it needs to be a good representation of what your days actually look like. So what I'm about to show you and share with you is something that I have actually been doing for 20 years. No matter where you are, like what season in life you are, if you're a mama of toddlers, or you're a mama of middle schoolers, or you're a mom of empty nesters, it's us. This works for you, but you have to understand it and you have to apply it obviously to your life. One of the greatest joys I have is when I actually get to sit down, and I do this with my coaches and clients. We figure out what their schedule is and then figure out when to put those important things, the priorities, make time for them in their lives. Usually, a lot of people don't get and understand where they're spending all their time, which is why at the very beginning I said, for a whole week, write down everything. When you're eating, when you go to the bathroom, all the things. How long does it take you? Because one little trick I have is this little bad boy right here. It's a timer. And when you work against the clock and you know how much time you have for a specific task, you actually usually get it done a lot quicker, or you get it done in the exact allotted amount of time. Whereas if you didn't pay attention to the time, if you didn't actually look at that, then you just can dilly-dally a little bit and not make it so much of a rush to get something done. So let's dive into how, and I do this either on Sundays or Mondays, just kind of depends on what I'm feeling like. So I sit down and I bring out my pens, my highlighters. I always use this pen right here, which is a G2 Pilot pen, my favorite. I have a little notepad of paper just in case. I don't usually write on this, but if I want to remind myself about something, I'll write that there. I've got my planner. I have this calendar that I use right here as a pullout I'll explain all of it in just a second. And then I have my sticky notes right here as well. So then I sit down and I get really comfortable. I've got my pens right here. I've got everything that I need to create the game plan for the week ahead. And this is where I actually get really excited because new week, it's like a clean slate. You get to start from scratch and get everything entered in, reprioritize, set some new goals maybe, and get it done. I use a planner that I actually created. Fingers crossed that at some point this will be available, but it costs a lot of money to get a planner published. We're working on it though. But I use a planner that I have created. I'm also working on a website where I am hoping that you're gonna be able to go and grab the pages that I use and just print them off. That is my goal by the end of this week, and I don't know when you're watching this, but it is August 2nd of 2021, and the free PDF page, it'll be up for a time, but I'm gonna hope to put that up there. I'm hoping by the end of this week that is gonna be available for you. So anyways, I digress. Let's look at this and I'll show you exactly how I do it, what I do. And I have my planner that is going to have these time blocks on it. And again, I'm going to show you all of this here in just a second. But we have a blank sheet and a really blank sheet, and I'll show you how I use those. And then I also have it's just a regular little hand calendar that you can get anywhere. Mine looks like this. So I'm gonna show you exactly what my process is, exactly what my system is, and I am hoping that at least you can take some tips from it or implement the whole process yourself, and then I need you to come back and let me know if it worked for you. Okay, let's get into it. Step number 1 is filling in everything that you already have scheduled. Meetings, appointments, set work hours, things like that. I personally have several things each week that I know I'm going to have to do. I know that I go live with my husband on his YouTube channel every Wednesday and Friday. I know I need to get the post office run done every single day. I know that I have a team call every Monday night that I have to be prepared for. I also have a set time for when I get coach work done each day. I've blocked out time for my workout. All of those things, get them blocked in so that you know exactly what time you're going to do what. That way you know what you have extra space for.
Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play through, only cause you set up the angle. Web that you weave got us tangled, caught in what's before our eyes.
So here's something that I also want to point out. You saw that I just wrote there, check all the things between 8 and 9. And the reason I do that is because that is when I go in and I check messages, I check emails, I check all the places where somebody would send me a message, YouTube comments, all of those things. That is where I go in. That is the time that I block out for that. And what that does is it frees up my mind to wake up, enjoy a morning happy hour, because I am telling you, how you start your morning is absolutely how your day is dictated for the rest of the day. So if you start your morning off on the right note, on a positive note, where you're infusing your mind with all the positivity, all the happiness, all of that is in your control. I make sure that I get that in before I open up all the things. But if I didn't have that scheduled in, I would be trying to get my morning happy hour done, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I wonder if anyone's checked in with me. I wonder if anybody is responding in to an invite. I wonder if somebody is sending me a message and needing me right now. I know I'm gonna get to it. So you take it out of your brain because you know you've allotted time for it later. That is how you relieve that stress and anxiety of having so much on your plate, because you're gonna know you're gonna get to that task here shortly. So I've taken everything from my calendar. I make sure that for that week, everything that I am supposed to, where I'm supposed to be, is already allotted for here. So I know that that time is completely blocked out. So now this is what I call all the white space. And all the white space is my extra time, my free time, my time to do things that like editing videos, recording videos, making content for my Studio Fit Club, all of those types of things. That is where I just start plugging things in. So what I do is I write up here like when things are due. So I do a weekly newsletter for my clients in the Studio Fit Club. It's called the Studian. I do that and I make sure that it is out on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, I get out my meal plan plus recipes for the week. So I know this is coming due. And so I know that I'll allot time throughout these days to make sure that I have what I need ready to go on that day. So this is kind of like my deadline area or specific to-dos that have to get done on that specific day or when it's due. That is when I write it all out here. My goal is to get my website launched on Monday, so I have that here. So this whole day will probably be blocked off for website situation. So here I might not have too much space because this week is gonna be real busy, and unless I do things like in the evening times, which I probably will, but I can either do that here, but I know that I have a whole day to finalize everything on the website that I want to launch on that Monday. So again, it just kind of relieves that stress. And then if we actually have space in here or things are completed in less than the time that I've blocked out, then maybe I'll hop over into my website work and get that stuff done. So this is what I call white space. I'm going to now grab my highlighters, and I actually have what I call a legend, which is right here. And I'm getting to this page. We'll get to that here in a second. But I have a little bit of a legend here that tells me what colors I'm going to use so that I can see at a glance how much time I'm spending on these different subjects. And then you can see here, this is what last week looked like. So we're gonna do that same thing for this week, so I really can get like a bird's eye view of the hours that I do have available. Now I can see where I have all the extra time. Now I have to put in here more recording and editing time for YouTube. I do have trainings that I'm going to need to watch. Luckily they're online and go at your own pace, so I make time for that stuff as I can. But here's the thing. If you are, like, you have to remember that I'm an entrepreneur and I work from home and I work for myself. And I set my own schedule, which, to be really honest, it actually is almost harder because you now no longer have, you're knowing 9 to 5, I am working. So often, and this happened to me as well, when I was driving my son to and from hockey practice. My daughter was lucky because we had to buy her a car because I couldn't be in 2 places at once. But when my son didn't have his driver's license, I had to drive him to and from hockey practice. And any of you hockey parents out there knows that hockey practice is like a 3-4 hour deal. It was 4 for us because it was like 35-40 minutes away. And if it was at an early practice during rush hour, give that an hour. So it was a long day when we had hockey practice. And hockey practice for the level that he was at was 5 days a week plus games. It was crazy. So when I no longer had to do this, true story, I did when he got his license and he was able to drive himself, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was like, I was the least productive I had ever been because you now have all this time and it's your responsibility now to figure out what needs to get done and when you're supposed to do it. So when you think about, you know, having a 9 to 5 and you look at people who work from home and the way that the world has been lately, so many people having to work from home finally get it. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. The business that I started at home. We had an office space for a time. When we moved from California to Texas, I actually kept that here and I worked from home. And it is a different ball game because you have to be self-disciplined. And sometimes that is literally the hardest thing to do. So I'm just saying, if you are a 9 to 5er, then you have your block times. This should be super easy for you, and you know exactly where you're supposed to be for your work hours and when you're supposed to be there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna go in and I'm gonna start filling in, knowing that I need to get some recording and editing done. I need to get some time for my business training courses that I'm taking. I need to make sure that I allot time for that. And this is also what I mean by going against the clock. This has been a lifesaver and game changer for me. This one has, like, I do the 30 minutes and you just set it this way and it starts the countdown. It's amazing. I freaking love this thing. But it's got 25 increments, 10-minute increments. And what I do is when I know I've got 30 minutes to get something done, I set my timer and then I have a reminder to, like, stay focused, keep going. This also helps if you have something on your plate that you don't want to do. You can just know, okay, I'm going to plug in 30 minutes, get it done, and then I'll be done for the day. So this has been a huge game changer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to block some time out. And oh, another thing that I wanted to say about the timer too is this also has been a big game changer in editing these videos, because I literally can spend all day editing a 10-minute video. But if I know that I've only blocked out some time, it makes me focus, it makes me stay intentional, and it makes me put my head down and get it done, because I know that I have other things that I need to get done on this day as well. So just the timer is a good tip to maybe implement. Here's where I am at. We've got some pretty full days. If I didn't do a video a day in the month of August, I would have a little bit more space for sure, because YouTube is my yellow. I am leaving Friday and Saturday a little bit open. These are kind of like my catch up, get shit done days. So whatever I might be behind on in this area, I am going to put it here. Now, I needed to get website work in here because I actually have a call with my mentor on Thursday, so I needed to make sure that I get this stuff kind of situated so I'm not stressing before that call. All you have to do is go in, first write down every single thing that you know you need to be. If you have a meeting, doctor's appointments, take kids to and from, whatever their extra things are, travel time to work if you have a long commute, make sure you're scheduling that stuff in here. That way you can see where your extra space is. This week specifically, I don't have a lot of extra space. I don't have a lot of what we call white space, but that's okay. I knew that was coming. And if I stay on track here, I'm gonna have Friday and Saturday to kind of recoup, right? And those are the days that I kind of leave blocked out or whited out so that I can catch up if I need to. Now this bottom part is where I'll just write down all of the daily actions that I want to get done and make sure that I get done. Like you can see, I've got them here. All I'm gonna do is copy all of this over right here. This just keeps me on track, keeps me accountable to the goals that I've set. I remind myself about what my annual goals are, my monthly and weekly goals. Always keep that in the forefront. And so now I'm gonna tackle this page. And this page right here is actually where I write my to-do list, and I don't write it in any particular order, because what I'll do is, and this is an ongoing, what I call a brain dump, and I write everything down that needs to be done, everything, personal, business, website, and what I do is as I finish these tasks, I cross them out, and whatever isn't crossed out moves over to the next week. So like I said, I work from blocks of time, and then that is where my to-do lists come in handy. And I write 5 things that I need to get done for that day, and I put it right here. That is how I work from a list. So if I'm doing these things here, I know what needs to get done. Like these are the priorities. So I know here when I'm going into my let's see, newsletter, for example, I know that this is probably going to be something that is on my to-do list right here. So I am working from these blocks of times, and I'm working from my to-do list. And when I finish the to-do list, then I start knocking things off of my master list. And just like that, we are done, scheduled out, completely ready for the week ahead. So I've entered in all of my things to do each day. I've got my goals in here, and then I've got all my things here written down, things that I want to get done. And here's another thing just to point out. Everything literally is on here. Business, personal, you have one life. I believe you should have one planner, one calendar. So I have, for example, we're gonna be going to Hawaii soon, and I've got, do we wanna rent a car? I need to talk to Rob about that, and if so, we need to get that booked in. But I also have to take my car to the body shop because I have this weird wheel thing that happened to my car. So I need to see if I need to get that fixed. I have to get the newsletter out for my Studio Fit Club. So you can see that literally website topics that I need to just kind of finish up. I need to rewrite my vision statement just because I feel like it's a little bit out of date. I want to get my thumbnails for my YouTube a little bit simplified, but these are not exactly priorities just yet. This is the priority, then this is a priority. When that's done and I have extra time here, then I start knocking out things on this list here. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of a tip. It is not about time management. It is not about time management. It's about self-discipline. Let that sink in. It's not time management, it's self-discipline. Because listen, you are responsible for what you allow onto your plate. You're the one who sets priorities in your life. What is it that you need to get done? What are the things that are going to move you forward, make you happy? And it's about creating that perfect, like in a perfect world, game plan for what you want your schedule to look like, and then you tweak it as you go. If you saw me kind of like flipping back and forth between my 2 pages, I know that last week was really successful for me. I know that I had a really productive week last week, so I go off of what I had last week. But if you're just starting this, then you might need a lot of tweaking, and that's okay. That's progress. That means you're learning what your schedule actually is, and you're figuring out what's gonna work for you, and that takes time. Like I said, I've been doing this for a really long time. And listen, if you're like, oh no, I'm gonna write something in pen on my planner and then I'm not gonna be able to erase it. Number one, you can always use a pencil, or you can get a little whiteout thingy. I use this all the time. This works just fine. So if you need to tweak things up, you absolutely can do that. You can actually do this type of block timing on a Google Calendar as well. I have a Google Calendar also. I prefer paper because I like to have something tangible with me all the time. And for me, being able to write everything down, to-do list, brain dump, and this here, and it just makes my life so much simpler. So I hope that you've gotten some tips here that you're gonna be able to implement into your daily schedule. If you do, I would love to know. If you have a tip for us, please share it in the comments. If there's a tip here that I shared that you're like, oh my gosh, totally resonated with you, let me know that too. All right, that's what I've got for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Charlani TV. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed to Charlani TV, I would love it if you did. Bye guys.